absolutely. Our research proves that from 30 to 35% increase, any state that goes from package stores only to liquor by the drink has an immediate increase within 18 months.
Would you be happy if this happens, that you are
No, I'll
right?
be very sorry. I'm already sorry. And as I made a statement last Sunday in the church where I spoke, I saw Texas raped Friday night, and I cried. Now, literally, that's what happened on the floor of the House of Representatives in Austin. It was a debacle that I've never seen the like of since I've been in the state of Texas. And it's a sorry day for Texas.
Yes, I think we can. Is the next question how?
How?
First of all, we've got to become more knowledgeable about extremists. One of the things we found in this study was that our people are not knowledgeable with regard to extremism. There were a lot of people who did not know such people as Robert Welch, founder and head of the John Birch Society. 54% of the women didn't know him. 48% of the laymen didn't know him. Now, we can't fight what some of these right-wing groups are doing unless we know who they are. Now, it may mean, since we don't know them, that they're not influencing our church too much. But we can't rely on that. We've got to make it a point. These people organize in order to learn. Non-extremists must do the same thing.
Three tables like this full of adding machines are going to be busy here tonight in the Dallas City Secretary's office when the election results start to come in from today's mayoral runoff election. Two factors, though, may combine to make results slightly later than usual after the polls close at 7 o'clock. Those two factors are the weather and paper ballots. The paper ballots like this are being used because of the lateness of the election. Voting machines have to be kept 20 days before they can be cleared, which would mean Dallas County could not use the machines for their election May the 18th. So, Dallas voters get paper ballots. This morning's rainy weather resulted in a light vote, too. Some precincts we checked early today were running as low as 2 or 3% of the registered voters. That means many people are going to want to vote in the good weather today after they get off work. City Secretary Harold Shanks says the combination could delay results as much as an hour. Shanks still says 65,000 people will go to the polls. That's nearly as many as voted in the original mayoral election April 6th, but it's still only about 20% of the registered voters in Dallas. The possibility remains very real that 1 of 5 Dallas voters are going to pick the city's leader for the next 2 years. However, voting did pick up as the day wore on. Late this afternoon, at least 2 precincts ran out of the original stock of paper ballots sent to them this morning by the city secretary's office, and those ballots had to be replaced. Channel 8 News will relay election reports as they come in here tonight at the city secretary's office, and of course we'll have a detailed report on the 10 o'clock news. This is Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News on the move at the Dallas City Secretary's office.
We were very impressed with some of the things that we saw in the educational program there. I guess the most important thing was the priority that they place on education. Obviously, education is top priority. If there is a distinct privileged class, it is children. Children are a privileged class. 10% of their budget is spent on education compared with 5% for ours. This is manifested in the fact that all children of all people receive a 10-year education. Secondly, there are impressive programs in early childhood education. we visited the outstanding nursery kindergarten programs. Third, we were most impressed with the status that they are giving to manual activity as opposed to mental labor. They start orientation for the world of work in the first grade and then move from there.
You know, the Kerner report said that we are a nation divided, that we are, on the one hand, split over the issue of racism, white racism, black racism, brown racism. Our generation has the responsibility of educating the generations that follow. And students will be students. They'll go to school wherever the school system tells them to. But parents and educators have the responsibility of seeing that we provide them with the best education. And the way to provide the best education in our society is by having a unitary school system. And that's what that opinion is all about. And I think that you will see the effects, not tomorrow, not the next day, but 10 years, 15 years, 25 years from now, when the students who are able to go to the better schools because of this decision are reaping the benefit. You know, oftentimes children don't know what's really good for them.
This is the Thomas C. March Junior High School in North Dallas. Today, 26 students and 5 teachers from the Pearl C. Anderson Junior High School in South Dallas near Fair Park attended school here today. Conversely, 26 students and 5 teachers from this junior high school went to South Dallas. It's all a part of what Dr. Nolan Estes, the Dallas school superintendent, calls a confluence of culture, that is, an exchanging of ideas, be able to see how each student attends his school and what the school is like. We talked with some of the students, the black students from Pearl C. Anderson Junior High School, and asked them what they thought about their experience today.
Oh, I found it quite interesting and exciting. I made friends with some of the students and the teachers.
What was it like for you, sir, teaching at a different school today?
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
How did the kids respond to you?
Good. Very good.
After you finished a whole day at a different school, how was it like today?
Well, it was different and it was pretty good.
How'd you like the kids?
They were nice and they said hello and everything too.
Did you find that you had a lot of things in common?
Sir?
Did you find that you had a lot of things in common?
Yes. And there are some different things too.
I thought it was very nice. It's similar to our school in many ways, and kids are nice, and teachers are nice. And it's just about like Anderson.
There wasn't really any differences.
Would you like to do it again?
Yes.
Tomorrow?
No. I want to go to my school for a change.
I think a greater commitment and dedication to our democratic way of life and a renewed commitment on our part to inculcate into our young people the constitutionally guaranteed freedoms that we enjoy here that simply are not available in the Soviet Union.
I consider the John Birch Society Christian crusade, Christian nationalist crusade, Christian anti-communist crusade, the American Independent Party, the National States Rights Party, the National White Citizens Councils, the Ku Klux Klan, the Minutemen, the Circuit Riders.
These are all extreme right. Do you want to go the other way?
On the extreme left, I consider groups of the extreme left to be such groups as the Black Panthers, the Students for a Democratic Society.
Is there any significance to the fact that names on the right come faster than names on the left?
I think there are more groups, and generally they're better organized.
Tim Snyder and Dan Flanagan are two candidates for president of SMU. Tell me, Tim, does the president have any power?
I think it all depends on whether he can get any sort of group from the students to support him. If he can get that. He does have power. People respect his opinion. This year, I don't think that happened, and the president didn't have very much power at all.
Well, speaking of students, do students really care about their government on campus?
I think Tim would agree with me. Throughout this campaign, it's been very apathetic. We have tried to go dorm to dorm, trying to get people out to vote, at least, and consider our own issues. And people have not been talking about what's been going on in the campaign. It's been very noticeable, and I think the voter turnout today will probably be light, I'm afraid.
Are you going to go vote?
Probably.
Do you care about student government?
I do, to an extent that I think we need a strong student government, but I don't agree with the type we have here now.
Do you care about student government?
I really do. It's very important here at SMU, especially with the new alcohol policy coming up and no hours and cutting back on money for funds in all the H&S schools and business school and so forth, and it's just really important right now.
Are you going to vote?
No, I'm certainly not.
Why aren't you?
The elections are pretty irrelevant. I don't really care who wins. The offices, the people who get in the offices don't really do anything anyway. It's just a status symbol.
Are you going to vote?
I already have.
Do you care about campus politics?
Well, I think it's good in certain ways, but I don't think it matters that much. I think that the board of trustees and Will State, have the final say-so, but it is good for the certain people that are in it. I mean, it'll help them adjust to other people and learn more about life, but I don't think it's that important on the campus. I don't think it has that big final to do over anything.
So politics is good for the politicians, huh?
Right.
Thank you.
We made in the flying phase, out of 9 areas that the crews were evaluated in, we received 9 outstandings. This equates to every bomb hitting the target, and there were 5 different targets. Every navigation leg, perfect. Every electronic countermeasures function, perfect. Every fire control system, the gunnery system, perfect. And this is the first wing in Strategic Air Command that has achieved these ratings since 1969. And oddly enough, the 7th Bomb Wing in 1969 was the first bomb wing ever to achieve a perfect score. So we have done this twice in the past 2.5 years.
Another man who might be looking for advice is Citizens Charter President John Sholkoff. I talked with Sholkoff today. He admitted the CCA had misfigured the election. But he told me, we may be wounded, we are not dead. Sholkoff says when the heat of the election is over, he's thinking about reorganizing the CCA to get away from the tradition of disbanding after each election.
Dallas has gotten very, very large. There are worlds of new people, and it's very hard to communicate a message of good city government associated with an organization in 2 months' time every 2 years. And I think that probably discussions about the CCA in the future will center around how do you best communicate your goals and aspirations for the city on an ongoing basis. I'm not convinced that we need a full-time political organization, but certainly an improved communication system of some kind.
Today is Earth Day, a part of National Earth Week. In places like New York, they've got environmental fairs, and Mayor Lindsay has got a walk-a-thon going on up there. Here in Dallas, these Atwell Junior High School students are picking up trash for ABCD, a beautiful, cleaner Dallas. How long have you been picking up trash today?
Since about 2 o'clock.
How much do you think you've picked up?
I've already finished one bag and I'm almost halfway through with my other.
How do you think Earth Day is going to affect people in the United States? You think they're going to take time out to appreciate what we've got here?
Well, if organizations can get together and, try to go around and picking up trash, it might help a lot.
This is Miss Berlin Center. She's an 8th grade social studies teacher at Atwell Junior High School. How did the program get going at your school? How do the kids react to going out and picking up trash during a school day?
We've talked a lot about pollution, and our students were just real excited about a chance to do something in their community.
How do they feel about Earth Day? How do you feel about Earth Day?
We all feel very strongly about Earth Day. We're very fond of the Earth.
This is Earth Day, 1971. And it boils down to this, I guess. It's our Earth, and the only one we've got. And we better take care of it. Malcolm Landis for Channel 8 News on the Move.
Our efforts are based on the fact that the citizens own the airwaves and grant license for the use of those airways on a provisional basis to those who can show they will be faithful to the public trust which is placed in their hands. Our efforts will be particularly directed toward the improvement of the communications to and from the minority and poverty communities.
Wow. How do you convert from karate to ice skating, or was that a matter of which was first?
Well, actually, ice skating was first, but believe it or not, karate was sort of similar. It's a physical form. You have to be very devoted. You have to work at it every day. And yet it had speed, and it was dynamic, and it was a little bit different, plus practical in our day and age. So I enjoyed it as much, if not more, than skating it for a certain amount of time.
Now, we know why you got involved in ice skating, with your father being one of the founders of the show, and you've been brought up into life. But why karate? Is it necessary for you for self-defense?
Well, actually, I did start it for practical reasons. I settled in Chicago in 1966, right after the Richard Speck killing of 8 nurses. And my husband at that time advised me to take up some form of self-defense. So I took up karate and judo for a time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was, as I say, a little bit different. And in our society, I don't think you can have too much going for you on the side of protection.
She's a fantastic gal, this Jill Shipstead, for the Ice Folly show in Dallas. A karate expert, a black belt, and a beautiful skater. Better come see her. The show will be running this week. This is Gene Thomas, Channel 8 News on the Move at Fair Park. Really?
There are a lot of reasons being talked about around Dallas as to why Wes Wise won that runoff election for the mayor. Probably the most popular is that having elected 9 Citizen Charter Association candidates, voters simply thought it couldn't hurt a bit to have an independent mayor. Wes Wise has 2 years of experience as a city councilman, and he can be said to mostly know what it's all about. Still, he has some definite ideas on some of the projects he wants to start and some of the things he wants to accomplish in his 2-year term. On Channel 8 News at noon today, I asked Mayor-elect Wise what his major problem would be. Among the other things the new mayor wants to do are to appoint an advisory committee to help him run the city as mayor, take another long, hard look at the commuter tax proposed 2 weeks ago by Dallas councilmen, and he told me today that he wouldn't substitute any members of the Dallas Housing Authority appointed by Mayor Eric Johnson. The Dallas Tenants Union is known to be dissatisfied because retiring Mayor Johnson refused to appoint a tenant to that board. But Mayor-elect Wise did say he would carefully inspect any candidates for that board, indicating that a tenant might find himself on it when another current member's position becomes vacant. At a news conference last week, Mayor Johnson told newsmen he would be available to either Wise or Avery Mays for advice and assistance, no matter which one was elected. Today, I asked Mayor Johnson what he thought would be the best advice he could give the mayor-elect.
I think I'd advise him to take a little time before he actually takes the oath of office to think about precisely what's to be done before he takes positions too hastily.
Whether or not Wes Wise's election as mayor will result in changes in the CCA is a matter for debate, but it seems fairly clear there will be a change in the tenor of the city. Eric Johnson was the mayor for 7 years. That's plenty of time for the City Hall and the citizens to become accustomed. Now there's new blood in the City Hall. Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News on the Move at the Dallas City Hall.
As Black Partnership was conceived to act to satisfy the environmental needs of people and to build up and free the human spirit, we challenge the church people of Dallas, especially those affiliating with the Council of Churches, to address themselves to whatever action necessary to meet these needs. If the power structure can affect the changes in the Council of Churches, then there is no true separation of state and church. The church is not free. We feel Mr. Lipscomb's firing is a direct result of this lack of freedom. We ask all men and women of goodwill to request and to press for Mr. Lipscomb's reinstatement.
Well, what we've attempted to do here today as a part of the program is to indicate what we think are the alternatives for an employer. He has to decide whether he will or he won't attempt to have the drug abuser in his employ. And he can say yes without qualification. He can say no for whatever his reasons might be. But probably most of us will say yes, but with certain reservations. We feel that these people shouldn't be actively using drugs in the workplace. We think that if they have had drug abuse as a problem and have become rehabilitated, they can be used. We feel that people who have been with us, otherwise qualified and effective employees who become drug abusers, that they should be offered an opportunity to be referred, to be treated, and to become rehabilitated at a later date.
Evidently, Mr. Lipscomb, Albert Lipscomb, was suspended for daring to cause meaningful change. How can our society continue to gag a human being and to stifle his creativeness in approaches to our problem? Reverend Saunders gives the facts of Mr. Lipscomb's interruptions of various meetings as one of the major causes of his firing. Neither Reverend Saunders nor the council have come up with any effective means of pricking the consciousness of people who have the power to relieve the suffering and to solve problems.